So hey, welcome back guys. Yes, I know I haven't posted in a while. Been a bit busy, like very busy to the point where I'm posted for almost 2 years, but I'm back now. And so I actually wanted to show you guys what I've been really doing in Blockland. I've actually been having a bit of fun testing out variables condition events. And if you don't know what that is, it's actually a pretty more complex eventing system than the current one that's already implemented in Blockland. You can do things such as adding your own variables and editing them, modifying them. You can pretty much do a lot of cool things. And so today I'm actually going to really show you something cool. I'm actually going to show you something pretty interesting. You guys might like this, and I hope you guys do. So actually what we're going to do is we're actually going to be going into our mod manager because we want to be looking for where is it? So it would actually be going under events. Now under events, you obviously want to find the event called variable condition events. Now obviously we're not going to be able to find it just by doing this because yeah, we're not going to be able to find it that easily. So we're just going to go ahead and search for it. So the event is called variable condition events, or VCE. I'm pretty sure it's in the RTB archive. Right now I'm using Blockland Glass. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a very useful thing in order to find add-ons you want. For example, I'm looking for VCE right now, so obviously we want the variable condition events. Alright, so I'm back guys. Obviously I couldn't have found it there. I had to end up going finding it on Google. I ended up finding VCE. Now before we start, if you do decide to follow me and want to get this, in the case that you're ever interested in this, when you do search for VCE in the RTB archive, I do believe the manual fix will help you if you want to actually learn more about VCE, if you're actually interested in it. But there's also extensions, and I do believe these are actually pretty interesting and can also help you if you're ever interested in it. So yeah, so basically we're just going to go ahead and start a basic game. We're going to obviously do custom because we want to select our add-ons. None of these bricks really matter, as I just want to really show you what I've really been doing the past time. So obviously Blockland gas we're going to need. Music obviously doesn't matter. We can just go ahead and actually events, it should have been, there you go, event variables. So let's go ahead and just start it. Yeah, we'll just do single player. Yeah, let's do single player, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what you can really do with VCE. Alright, so we're here in Blockland, obviously. So using VCE, it's gonna be a bit different than usual. I want to show you guys something interesting that I've been doing, and I've been having a lot of fun doing this actually. And I'll go ahead and get back to you when I show you guys what I've made. Oh, and just letting you guys know, another good script to have with VCE would be the VCE prints, as what they do is they actually show you in real time what you're doing. Like if let's say for example you want to store apples in your player, well, this is actually very useful because you can actually see in real time like how many apples you have. If you're ever getting more apples, are you giving away your apples, are you selling your apples? So this is just going to be helpful for later on in the video if you guys want to ever try your own VCE inventions or eventing, cool eventing stuff. So yeah, I'm just letting you guys know in advance. I forgot to put this in. So alright, so what I've actually got here is a simple little apple tree. Obviously it's not the best, we're in free build. I'm not the best builder, more of an inventor than a builder. So so what we have here actually is a simple apple tree, and I did change the look around a little bit. The only thing I really changed was the environment. I simply added a base plate with a glow on it, and I'm still using basically the same basic free build blocks. I haven't really added any blocks other than VCE events, maybe the bottom print that you can see right here, and the no other really add-ons, so you can actually do this yourself. So what I've actually done here is I've made a simple tree that once you shoot it, an apple goes down. Well, it shows a projectile looking like the apple is falling down. And what happens is the apples actually appear. Now what you can do is, you can actually go up, grab an apple, and it will say you got 1 apple. And at the bottom you can see that the apples are actually accumulating the more you grab them. For example, if I grab another one, got another apple. Another one, got another apple. Now this actually leads into a very interesting thing you can do here in Blockland. What you can then do with these variables is you can then do more complex things. And let me go ahead and show you that. Later on in the video, I will go ahead and show you how I did this. For now, I just want to show you some cool things you can do with VCE. And yeah, for this demonstration, we're going to start with an apple tree, and we're going to go on from there. Alright, so we are back now, guys. And actually, I have added a new variable, apple juice. Now, apple juice obviously has to be made by squishing the apples down into juice. So in order to do that, we made ourselves a small factory. Now in this factory, which is obviously not the best looking, I know, you will insert the apples here. They come out into the conveyor belt, into the slot, which then the machinery then grinds them down into apples, or whatever your imagination desires. It then comes out here and goes into the tube, and then goes into our container to give us apple juice. So of course right now, if you were to click on this, you can see there is no apple juice. So obviously we need to get ourselves some apples. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab our 2 apples right here, even our 3rd one. So let's go ahead and do that. So the factory will shoot the apple into this machinery. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. The apple will go into the slot. The factory will start making the apple juice, and it'll shoot into the tube. So then it will come down, and I've had a few tests with this. Sometimes it goes slow, sometimes it goes fast, but in this case, it's still relatively good. So obviously it is now filled with apple juice. Now when we click this, we then grab ourselves some apple juice. And that's the point of this factory, to just basically produce yourself some apple juice, and maybe you could then use it to go ahead and buy and sell it. Maybe make some money, or do anything you really want afterwards. Even probably make yourself a little shop. So yeah. So yeah guys, I hope you were really interested in what I had to show you. There are a lot of cool things you can really do with VCE. So in here, what I've done is I've actually made this small brick. What this small brick does is actually, it will set my variables down to 0. And so you could basically start fresh every time. So if you want to copy that, you can. If you want to know how to set your variables back to 0, you could subtract, or you could simply set them. Now, this is a bit complex, so I'm going to show you the tree first. When making the tree, it's pretty simple. So when you shoot the tree, of course, the pong ball goes down, hits the very bottommost brick, which then enables the apples to appear. Now the reason that it doesn't hit this brick is because raycasting is off. If raycasting is on, what that enables projectiles to do is actually connect or touch the brick. So when that actually touches this brick, I've made it so when the projectile hits it, the projectile explodes. After that, the named brick, which I called Apple 2, in this case there are 3 apples, and this one I named Apple 2. I set the disappear to 0 in order for it to actually reappear instantly. Whereas if you were to set it to 1, it would take 1 second for it to come back. So let's demonstrate that. As you can see, they appeared instantly, and the projectiles came down, and you got your apples. Now, why does this happen? Well, if you actually look here, I named both these bricks tree. Now, actually, that has nothing to do with it. That was actually for something else. I was experimenting a bit. But basically, what happens is, when you shoot a projectile, and it hits the tree, on projectile hit, it will spawn a pong ball downwards, just like we showed earlier. And that's basically how the apples appear. Now, if you want to actually grab the apples and actually add them to your inventory, or add them to whatever you want to call it, you want to call it a backpack, it's up to you. You would do some variable condition events. Now, if you don't understand it, it's fine. You can go ahead and copy this. You could even learn yourself. You can modify it your own way, whatever you want to do. But this is just simply how I did it. When you activate it, the apple will disappear. -1 sets it to infinitely disappear, so it won't reappear unless you maybe toggle it back or easily check the boxes like raycasting, collision, and rendering all back. And of course, when you activate it, the client, which is actually you yourself, you will add apples onto your inventory or backpack, whatever you want to call it, and you simply get a message saying you got 1 apple. And that's the whole basic idea of this tree. Now, the reason I didn't do like a sword or a pickaxe or anything like that is because you would need different tools for that. You would also need something like on weapon hit or something like that, which you can easily do with other events. But for the basics, I just decided to do a free build. So if you guys want to follow along, maybe make your own apple tree or whatever, you can go ahead and follow along easily. So yeah, this is how you make the pretty much basic apple tree. So yeah, so here guys, I'm actually gonna show you. This is a bit complex for new people getting into VCE basically, but I'll go ahead and try to show you the best I can on how this works. So pulling out the wrench right now, you can see there are invisible bricks around. This brick and these 2 bricks and that brick. So this brick doesn't matter. Why I put this here is because the pong projectiles would actually end up going backwards for some reason, and I actually have no idea why. I've tried modifying a bit, but sometimes they go forward, sometimes they go backward, but that's the only reason for this brick. As you can see, I put raycasting, so the projectile, if it hits this, it'll just go back. So, and these just support bricks. You know, obviously I'm not the best builder and I don't have many bricks to really go with, so and so obviously, yeah, so if we actually wrench here, we can see there's a lot of stuff here, so just brace yourself. When you activate this, it will check to see if you have 1 or more apples. If that's true, it will spawn a projectile, and if it's also true, it will subtract an apple from your inventory. Pretty much, if you use an apple, obviously you won't have an apple anymore. So if you had 1 apple, you used the apple, you wouldn't have any more. That's the basic reason. And on variable false basically means self-explanatory. If you don't have 1 or more apples, then you don't have enough apples. Now, if you're trying to understand all this, basically at this part, for the VCE part, you simply input the variable that you're trying to modify, and if you're using true or false statements, then you use the first number on the left side is where you want to start, and the second number is where you want to end. For example, I did 1 and 3, so everything from 1 to 3 is all the events that would be activated. So 4 wouldn't activate. If I added like a 5th one, it wouldn't activate, etc., etc. So that's the basic part for this. Now, for the factory itself, I actually did not event any of this. I actually only evented this part. It may look like a lot, bear with me. There's actually no VCE happening here, so it's pretty easy to follow along. So obviously, when the projectile hits here, it'll just completely vanish, and the blue brick will actually glow, as you've seen before, when the projectile hits it. And next, the factory will glow. I called it machine before, but here I call it factory. And so what happens is, this will glow, this will glow, and then this will glow. How that is determined is actually by the milliseconds here. So for actually every 1000 milliseconds is actually equal to 1 second. So I simply put like 1.5 into, pretty much put it in ascending order, and that's why the flow was very consistent throughout the whole entire process, as you can tell by the glowing that was happening. And so yeah, so once that's done, after 3 seconds, the projectile will actually spawn on this brick inside here. I named this brick Apple Juice. As you can tell in here, it is also named Apple Juice, named brick Apple Juice. Will spawn a Pong projectile this way. It will hit this tube, and same thing's happening here. Do not worry, do not be afraid, guys. The same thing is happening here. We're basically making everything glow until the very end. And what happens is, once it gets to the 3000 mark, this will glow. It will then shoot down a projectile into here. It's basically the same as this, but you're just doing it onto the tube now. And once it hits here, this is where things get a bit complex. So obviously when the projectile hits here, it will turn yellow. We're gonna go ahead and add a apple juice. We're gonna set apple juice to 1 basically. And the reason for that is to let the brick know that there is indeed apple juice in there. So obviously from here on out, you've seen this before, on activate, if the variable. So remember this before, how I put a box here, right? So obviously everything from 4 through 10 is going to be activated. 11 won't be activated, okay? So only here, 4 through 10. When it's true and you click it, it was supposed to say you got 1 apple juice, but what happened is, for some reason it didn't appear. I actually have no idea why. But other than that, when it's true, if you click it and there's apple juice inside, it'll play a sound. It will add an apple juice to your inventory or backpack, and it will set the color back to the previous color, indicating that there's no more apple juice inside, and it will set this back to 0 to also indicate the brick that there is no more apple juice. And if this is false, there's obviously no apple juice, and if it's false, simply plays a sound. And in this case I put body remove, which is basically when a blockhead disappears. And on projectile hit, it will delete. So the pong ball that you saw coming down would actually just disappear. So it's a bit complex, but if you're actually into VCE and you understand it, you can pretty much make cool things like this that you couldn't really do with regular events. Well, you could if you knew how to use relays really well. Personally, I do think VCE is easier for me, as yes, it does get a bit complex later on, but I do believe the ability to add variables is pretty interesting. So yeah, this is basically our little Apple setup. If you guys really enjoyed this and you want to see more, just go ahead and say something in the comments, and I will go ahead and make a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're confused, I'll try to help you in the comments, no problem, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh yes, I also did forget to mention, if you're wondering how I got the actual apples and apple juice at the bottom, once you actually download the VCE prints that I showed you in the beginning, when you open up the glass server preferences, which you can do, it's a bindable thing in your options. So let me show you real quick. You go to controls, and it should be down here, Blockland glass. So -P, gonna go ahead and press P, and there you go. So obviously you're gonna be here first, so just go to VCE prints, bottom print. As you can see, apples, this var CL apples pretty much means the variable of the client is apples. So basically this whole thing right here is keeping track of how many apples you have. Obviously I have none right now, so it doesn't even have a score. And so the next one, pretty self-explanatory. Let's see if I can go there. Yes, okay, so the color is just simply turning the text yellow. So in this case, 4 F's and 2 zeros would turn it yellow. Simply apple juice, and the same thing here, just like before, but instead of putting apples, we put apple juice. And it will also be yellow because of the color. So everything after this color will be yellow unless you put another color symbol there. So that's just showing you guys what I did. If you want to go ahead and add your own prints, that's how you do it. And so yeah, now the video is actually over. Thank you for watching, and see you guys next time.